Okay, my friends, today we're going to label this video health update. So today, or yesterday, I'm pretty close to 200 pounds. I weighed around 217, edging more to 220 about 5 weeks ago. Today, like I said, I weigh around 200, 201, right in there. Okay? One of the bad things that happened to me was last Sunday, I started to come down with something and I felt kind of bad. And then Monday I was kind of Tuesday I had to go to the doctor. I was still kind of but I was all right. And then Wednesday, started feeling kind of lousy. And then we started our trip. And I was sick the whole time except for Saturday. I felt a little better, but not 100%. And then we came home on Sunday, and Monday everybody kind of kicked back. I really didn't eat too much over those couple of days, so through all that, I was lucky and I lost some extra weight because I got sick, which is not a good way to lose weight. But today's we're going right back into it again. I was able to do the treadmill one day out of that whole sick day, so I did do it. My journey has worked. I've only got another 20, and that puts me at 180, and that's about where I wanted to be. So we say 5 weeks from today, which is May 20th, I think. Well, that's going to put that into around the end of June and the beginning of July, and summer has come. Now, I do have a diabetic stomach, and I don't know if I can ever get rid of that. I see a lot of people doing a lot of things that aren't going to change anything. I mean, this is the old me. I don't resemble the young me at all. I'm still me here, but I'm not that person. I'll never look that way again, okay, as far as this. That's the way it is. A friend of mine has some kind of a partial facelift at 67 years old. You still look 67, but if it works for you, that's fine. But we're all older, and it's what it is, okay? I can tell people over and over, and they really don't understand that, like I would say when I was there, you can talk a game all you want to, but unless you're doing the game, and I'll even show you a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to do the workouts for you, but I'll show you how I work this out. And in fact, I can go get this other little item, and I'll show you this. It works out at home, and I'm not lifting heavy, so hey, if it works, that's all you need. And I'm gonna show you a couple little things here. I do have some regular dumbbells, and I do have some adjustable dumbbells. Now, if any of you guys know what this is right here, this is one of those things you use on your chair or your bed to read, okay? Well, with it and a weighted bag behind it, I can use it as an inclined bench. This chair, as long as the weight's not heavy, can be a regular seated bench. My neck doesn't go back as far anymore due to injuries I've had and stuff like that, so I've had to use a pillow. I'm sure you can find something like that to take to the gym, and one day I may start going back to the gym. Anyway, over here, if you want to look and see this little setup, I do have, I'll have to unplug this. I do have a chair that's called a pivot bar, and you can bench off your chair, okay? And that's what I do. I bench off my chair, I incline bench off that, I lay on the bed and do my flies, and that's how I get that in. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it, okay? If you just sit there, and I'm not telling you that you can't have that hamburger and you can't have that shake, and you can't, but not every single day, right? That's the bit. A lot of people haven't gotten that picture, and they're stuck in junk food mode. When I was younger, I was in fairly good shape. I weighed a little bit less than what even the doctor's scales say that I should still weigh 155, and I'd be a rail if I was that little. That was high school, okay? And they always put you back to your high school weight. Yeah, that's your ideal weight. If I was 155 pounds, my friends, I would look like I came out of a prison camp. So I wouldn't even want to weigh less than 170. Now, when I was running those races called Spartan, I weighed about 175 to about 180, and I was in my middle 50s. Now, by no means was I fast, okay? I've always been slow. I've not been a fast runner, but I keep the pace and I finish. If I set a goal for myself, if I have to crawl across that line, I'm going to do it. And so it's been a few years ago, 2017, I think it was my last Spartan race, real race. And I entered the age bracket group, and albeit there were 3 of us, but I still got a medal. I was going to get a medal either way, but I did beat one guy, okay? That's the first ever individual medal that I have ever won, okay? And I got to go on the podium and stand there with the other guys, and it was kind of cool. Now, with the health problems that I have today, I can probably do a trail if I keep on moving. And you don't want to know what it's like to be locked into a body thinking that that's it for you and you're never going to be any better and you're stuck there. So when I started doing this whole video is probably just going to be dedicated to what's happened for me over the last 5 weeks. So 5-6 weeks ago, I started doing this, and we have a person who comes to the house and cleans every Wednesday. So we found a close park to here that I could go walk at. And the first couple of times I was slugging like a snail. Had no wind, felt like I was going to pass out. I was ready to give up. And then about the 4th week, I got there, but I've been treadmilling every day too, see? So it wasn't like it was just once a week and I was walking. No, I was using the treadmill, and I'll even give you the app name. It's called iFit, and they have different exercises and, and different courses. And while I was gone, I did a course I already did and found out it was easy this time. Well, anyway, I went to this park 2 weeks ago, and the first time I ever went there, the first lap, and then they have these little bitty steps. They're not big, but they're little steps up and little steps down. I could barely do it. The last time I went there, every lap I did up and down. I think I cut 4 minutes off my time. And I was even able to jog a couple of times, 40 to 50 feet, which, hey, is more than not running at all. And I could actually do the little side steps that they do for football practice. I could do some of those. So then I decided that I was going to take a backpack, weighed about 20 pounds, and I put it on my back, and I did a iFit workout. And I did it. When I finished that workout and came out here and started to talk about that, it was emotional for me. Because I had been stuck in a chair, and I had so many things happen to me that I thought I was going to die before I was 70 years old. And people at home, oh, you can't be sitting in that chair forever. That's where you're going to die. Finally, I gripped the fact that, you know what, man? You want a few more years left to you? You're going to have to do something about it. And so about 6 weeks ago, I got up off the chair and I started my journey. Today, I can move around. I have movement. I can do 5 full push-ups, which is nothing to some. But I could do 0 push-ups. I couldn't do any. I couldn't get up off the floor. I have one more thing I want to try, but I still weigh a little too much for it. I've always been that kind of a guy that's got to be a little lean for pull-ups. So I don't know if I can even do any of those yet. I tried and couldn't. I got an assist band, but I couldn't use that at this park because there's always somebody on that bar. Always. So anyway, but I've come such a long way from where I began that I can't go back. Now, I love ice cream. I was putting a pint of that down every day. Not good for COPD, not good for DVT, which I have. That's kind of like not as bad as it's been, think it's pretty well gone. When I had the blood clot in my leg. Now, we're going to go a little bit over an area we shouldn't really go on because sometimes they restrict things about this. But let's just say back in 2020 when the dreaded came along, and I got that before any of that, I was sick and I dang near died. And I think every complication that I have today came from it. Yeah, I smoked a little, but I didn't smoke a lot. And I know a lot of people that smoke more than I ever did, and these guys don't have any of that. I think I got it from the virus. Well, now I'm not saying, but I do believe you have a right? Well, now they're not mandating that you anymore, and I'm not getting them. My doctor even said, he goes, I can recommend it. He goes, but I can't make you do it. And I decided, you know what? I've had too many things happen ever since that I don't want to take no more of that. Had a lot of friends claim to get sick or this or that. People in the family here, oh, no, nothing's happened. Yeah, then why'd you lay on the couch the next day going? So I got over this illness quicker than I thought I would have without. So you know what? I guess I'm going to be opting out. I don't think I want that anymore. Anyway, I've come too far. I still have to sit down once in a while and put my leg up because that's just the way it is with DVT. But I also don't want to live there. I put myself there because I'm retired. And a lot of people, it happened to my grandfather, it happened to other people, my father, although he lived a little longer, but he sat in a chair the rest of his life and pretty much that was it. Watched TV, his brain became potatoed, and pretty soon his Alzheimer's was bad. He knew us, but his rest of it was gone. And I don't want to have that. It's hereditary in my family, and I really don't want to go down that line. I'm already forgetting stuff already. So I keep myself busy with word games and stuff like that and do whatever and try to work out and stay in shape. It just depends on what you want to do. You don't really have to go to a gym if you have enough at home. Now, there's certain things you can't do here, like you can't do back rows. You can do dumbbell rows, though, but you can't do certain things that are cable unless you have it at home. I can't turn the house into a total gym, but I have what I need. And my goal is to bench about 135, which is the 45s in the bar. When I can do that maybe 8 times and it's easy, that's good enough for me. When I was younger, I could bench over 300 pounds. I could curl 70 pounds. I could do 90-pound, incline dumbbell. I probably can't even do 40s. But it's all in what you want to do. And the thing is, here's another thing for a lot of you guys who may have worked out and given up and stopped. We all have a thing called muscle memory. And it's easier to get back some of your size if you have worked out before. Now, if you're 70 years old and you come into this and thinking you're going to be Arnold and I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to show you my big 19-inch bicep, not going to happen. You can be in shape, but an old guy who has had an 18-inch arm can almost get that back because it's called muscle memory. And I don't have a lot of that old age flab that a lot of people have. I don't have it yet. Some, like here, but I don't have all that other stuff yet. But this video is a little bit about me, but what I'm also saying is to some of my friends who have started to work out again, and it's happened once before, I got into this big journey, and the next thing I knew, 2 or 3 other people I knew were doing it. And if that works for them by watching me, even if I don't become the guy I used to be when I was 40, and I could sit here and push up the big weight, at least it motivates them to get on and at least walk. Okay? I posted something on the Dreaded FB today about that. Because one of my friends, their wife, I don't know if they understand that eating what you make at home that's made at home doesn't necessarily mean what you're eating is healthy. Sloppy Joes are not healthy. Swedish meatballs are not healthy. I could go on and on and on. They might taste good, but it's not healthy. Healthy is going to be foods that you probably don't really want to eat. In the beginning, any guy that really trains will tell you this: fish, chicken, some lean meat, rice, greens, carrots, corn, any of that, that's good for you. But anything, lasagna, stuff like that, it might really be good, taste good, but it isn't good for you. Sodas, alcohol, and take it from me, I loved my beer when I was young, but I was an overindulger, and I couldn't moderate anything. Finally, I had to stop. Now, I've been clean for at least 9 years. Nothing. No alcohol, no nothing. And that's just how it is for me. Whatever works for you. But today starts a new chapter because I pretty much am saying I've lost the 20 pounds I wanted to. It's only a pound. And so now we're on to the next. This might be harder because it's a little bit, it is going to be more challenging. Once I get to 180, that's my goal. I have a really juicy gift to myself, food-wise, that I'm going to have, and I'll tell you what it is. We're going to make it in moderation, though, because I can only have this like once in a blue moon. But this woman showed where she took these ice cream sandwiches, put Cool Whip on it, did some more ice cream sandwiches, put some Cool Whip on it, and they put M&Ms on it. And the M&Ms went on at the end, and they put it in the freezer. Well, we're going to make a micro dish of that when I make my 180. But then I'm not going to have it again for quite a while because I got diabetes and I really shouldn't have a lot of sugar or salt. My tests came back. They're pretty much no different than they were. I don't have any trouble here. My lungs are clear. I'm in pretty decent shape. The only thing I can't do anymore, which I would love to do one, is a burpee. I could do 4 of them when I was doing Spartan. But in the military, I could do the 30. But it's because I'm so out of shape, I don't know if I can even do one. I might be able to do one, but I'm going to have to get lighter. When I began this Spartan deal, there was a place we trained at a high school that believed the gym opened sometimes inside. And they had this bar that went around, and I could actually do it. I could go all the way around. I was in my middle 50s. Some of what you lose is only because you think you're gonna. And I have a fear of heights, and sometimes being even 3 feet above the ground scares me that I'm going to hurt myself because I could. And when you take blood thinners, you got to be very careful on what you do. You don't want to get cut. Although I did cut myself slightly one time, and didn't really bleed much. But anyway, don't limit yourself. Give yourself a goal. Try to get there. Now, I got a thing that I did years ago called P90X, and that got me in the best effing shape that I ever thought of. But I don't want to get into it till I'm down to about 180. I want to be able to do some of this workouts and not just stand there and watch them. Okay? And in time, I might get there. Everything is a good, positive, as long as it was something you could never do. Then all of a sudden you're doing it. I did. Yesterday I filmed myself doing 5 push-ups. That's nothing to some. It's big to me. I did 0. On day 1, I did 0. I couldn't even push the body off the ground. And I'm going to tell you guys this as I end this last little video. I'm probably going to put 10 more minutes into it. There's an old lifter. He's my age. I met him, and there's a picture of me and him. And he's from Compton, California, and he's the Compton Superman. And that is C.T. Fletcher. If this guy could come from where he came to where he is today, that's not impossible for anyone. He had a bad heart. He had to go through a transplant. Being like me, being physically active all his life, being relatively bigger for his size, and after the surgery, not really realizing that he was going to have to start over from ground zero, he decided that he was going to get down on the ground and do a push-up. And he couldn't push his body off the ground. And he felt like his life was over. But the will and determination in here said, no, one day you're going to do those, you're going to run again, and you're probably going to be able to lift again the way you used to. First time he tried to walk, he walked 4 feet and fell on his butt. And the next day, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet. And pretty soon, he could run. Just like that guy on DDP Yoga that they did the video about. The guy that was that guy that started out, he was in the army and then things happened to him. Pretty soon he had double canes and he was heavy and he couldn't get around and all of that. And at the end of the video, he's on the beach and he's running. That's exactly how I felt when I was able to move and not walk along like a snail. Now, I'm not the fastest in the world. I've had a lot of older people pass me when I walk, because I've always been slow. But the last time I went to the park, there's people, you can see their vices there, they can't quit them. There was a guy there, and the guy was pretty much smoking a cigar with a cane, walking. And I thought, you can't let that guy smoking a cigar, barely moving, and I had to pass him. And I did. I thought, this guy's got a death warrant sealed. He's smoking still, and he's old. These old guys older than I am. I'm like, are you a crazy guy? But to each your own. You do what you want to do. Whatever you think is good for you, you do. So like I said at the beginning of the video, you set your goals, you get what you got, you do it all the way through. Again, CT, I don't see him working out as much now. He probably still does, but the videos are more on the sun. Okay? I've met a lot of bodybuilders through my time, sat next to them at expos. My cousin at the time was an MC for some of the ones over here. Most of these guys, believe it or not, are not that tall. Like, I'm 5 foot, I was 5'11", but they're measuring me at 5'9" now that I'm older. But a lot of these guys, like Lee Priest, Sean Ray, that genre, they're not 6 feet. They list Arnold as 6'1", but he's really more like 5'11". Okay? Franco was a little bitty guy, only weighed 180 pounds. Frank Zane was a little short guy. They all are. The guys that are pros, they're not tall, big dudes. Lou, on the one hand, was a big guy. But most of them aren't. Most of these guys are short. And that shows the muscle more because they're littler, they're dense. Big, long, stringy guys. Of course, you got Martin Ford, but he's the one in a million guys, and I'm sure he does a little bit to get that big. And most pros do. I mean, you're not going to meet any pro that's going to be PED free. None. Okay? But set simple goals. I walked 10 feet today. Tomorrow, I'm going to walk 15 feet. I walked 15 feet tomorrow. I'm doing 20 feet the next day. Pretty soon. When I first went to that park, I was doing 2 laps. I went to 3. I did it to 4. I did 6 once. I don't think I'll do that again. But I do a minimum of 4. It's about 2.5 miles. Put in 1 mile to 2.5 miles a day. I've got to get my iFit in today. And then I'm pretty much done for the day of my things. I work out 6 days a week. And I kind of gauge which day of the weekend I'm going to take off because everybody's home. And that day is nothing. No weights, no treadmill, 0. Okay? I was amazed at how quick that one routine was. When I redid it again 4 weeks later, I was like, wow, see? Same with anything. P90X, any of them. You go back and redo them, and you're going to find out that some of them are easier now because you progressed. All I know is if I had remained that guy there, I don't know how much longer I would live. And being older and kind of afraid to take that dirt nap, I don't want to take that dirt nap any sooner than I have to. So if I can stave that off of a ways, and sure, you might get hit by a car or a bus down the line, but staying healthy is another. And I'm going to give you this, since a lot of you guys know my video. Most of my videos are about prepping. Mine really was about Planet X when I began it. I still believe it's there. It's just, who knows the whole and when or if. But I went off in a different direction until that comes a little closer. But, excuse me. Anyway. So I decided to go off into this because it's another thing I'm interested in. Set yourself goals. Give yourself a recipe schedule. Hey, I eat at Subway once a week because it's not bad. I'm not really into their sandwiches as much as they used to be, but they're not bad. Sorry for that, but I had to. I'm still not completely over being unsick. I'm better. And I think the working out helped me be better. Okay? So, that's where I was going. So CT had said that another thing for any of us, men, women, whatever, you do not want to be, which I see every single day, you do not want to be a walking target. You don't want to, because you can see people that are when you're driving around and going to the store and doing this or whatever. And if that person is old, barely getting along on a cane, that's a target. Don't be that. Be in just enough shape. Because, we're older, yes, and we're not going to probably whip some 25-year-old. I mean, you know what I mean? But be in enough shape that there's a question as to, should I go after this old guy or should I leave him alone? You know what I mean? An old man with a cane that's barely getting along is a target. A person who looks like they might put up a fight might be somebody they pass by. Don't be that person. And I saw some things here last night on here, like defense weapons that are legal to carry. And I'm not trying to put this off in the wrong way because I know a lot of ladies don't like to be labeled, but in reality, most women are a little bit not as strong as some men. Some are, some aren't. And you want everything that you can have available to you to help something maybe not happen or someone pass by. They got these things that are pretty cool. They got this one. Let me show you. I don't have it, but this is how the thing works. So, I just put this here as a prop, but it's a little thing that you grab on your hand. Now you have something to stave somebody off. They weren't expecting you to go like this, and there it is in your fingers. See what I mean? Anything that's legal within your area to carry, you probably should. Even if that's just on a walk. One of the worst things that we all do, and I do, is to wear these when we're walking and working out. But what do these do? You can't hear who's coming up behind you. That's why they're bad. I wear them. I'm just saying. Now, what you might do is get like these. These have a speaker in them, and I can listen to the radio or my music through these. But now what? My ears are there. I can hear. See? You don't want to have yourself in a position to where you can't tell what's going down. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of where you walk. Be aware of what you do. A crowded park during the day, totally fine. I have noticed some things that have gone on at these parks. They're not like bad, but it's because younger people are allowed to just roam and do what they want to. And sometimes older people get a little scared. But don't be afraid to go places, especially during the day. I mean, as long as you're in an area that's pretty well lit, lots of people there, odds things going down for you are probably pretty nil. But again, a person who wants to take from you is going to look and see, is that old guy somebody I could take? Or is it more I want to pass him over to somebody else? See? One of my big things for me that I've always done through my life, because you call it whatever you want to call it, but I have never really acted as old as my age is, ever. I mean, when I was in my middle 30s, I was still like, I was in my early 20s. You know, my mindset was always there. I was always in my middle 20s. It's still there. Well, a friend of mine told me this years ago, and he probably did pass away. The mind says you can and the body says you can't. Well, there's some things that I can still do, Ed. And if you were gone, I am sorry. But you led that life of an old man with the big pot belly and then not taking care of yourself. My mind, I dress it, I act it, and I may not look it, but I still am that guy when he was 30-some years old. Some people laugh at me because I still wear earrings, I still wear a backwards cap, I wear longer shorts, I wear basketball shoes, because that's what I grew up doing. I'm not going to become the guy with the long socks and the loafers and the big old gut and the no hair. I still got some hair, I mean, not bald yet, but in the back a little bit, but not much in the front. But I'm not that guy. I will not be that guy. And when I see these guys moving around and they've lost everything that they've got, I said, no, that isn't going to be me. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to end up like that. I'm not doing it. And through determination and will and thinking, hey, man, you want to die before you're 70 or do you want to make another 10 years? I decided, you know what? 10 years is better than 0. So here I am. You can do it too. Just got to put your mind to it. Anyway, this video is very long, guys. I shouldn't have made this a 35-minute video, but it's just a rant about me and my health journey. And I've come a long way in the last 6 weeks. It's attainable. It is. But if you're so sewn into the food you eat and you've got to have that junk and it's got to be there and oh my God, then you defeated yourself before you even started. I did have a channel once that was designated to me kind of helping people work out, but everybody has their own training. And I'm not going to go into that anymore. You know, you can make your own gym, you can surf it on the internet, you can find out what to do. There it is. Simple. Follow the plan. Do it stringently every day. And again, after your first couple of weeks, you can maybe pop in that little cheat meal. Then after a month, maybe you can have 1 or 2 cheat meals. But strictly, you're going to be on the same thing until you get to where you got to be. Then it's all a different management. Because of course you're going to want to go out to dinner with your family and eat what they have. Of course you're going to have a birthday, maybe you want cake. Of course you're going to want to do it, yes. but not in the beginning. You gotta set goals, try to reach them, and then things can happen. Well, until then, my friends, I guess I'm done. This is a very long video. Peace. I'll be seeing you. Hang in there and don't give up.